You're going to have a lot to talk about. Hello. Hi, everyone. Dale Pinker joined with Mike Venezia, who said he had swings better than the GDP of Cuba. So I'm going to have to get you a cigar, Mike. Some pretty wild action in the last 24 hours with the Fed creating, well, first of all, I want to show that yields are not making new highs. We have the NFP tomorrow. And if this is the case, also TLT is not making a new low on a very hawkish Jay Powell, although the Fed wasn't as hawkish as Powell. The market seems to be handling it well. And you posted early in the day in TradeGATEHub in our main chat, buy what was green when the market was lower. I posted 3,700 being a potential number for a buy. I think the low is 36.96. So separate the wheat from the chaff, Mike. I know you're getting a lot of action, and
I'm good.
you
I'm
said,
centered. I'm so
yeah,
good.
there's some squeezes going on here. So I'm sure you showed that one thing, Mike, about how put buying went off the scales yesterday after the Fed. So classic, all the put buyers are getting fried today.
Yeah, usually that happens on some type of OPEX or I mean, yesterday I don't want well I don't know if it was necessarily a binary move. Certainly we had to move up to where it was buy the rumor sell that I have to actually show my screen
All
to
right, I want to. And
yeah, let me articulate it.
and we're not just reacting to this. I remember our broadcast Tuesday was let the Fed create an opportunity for us. Don't do anything. Let the Fed take markets down and use that as a buying opportunity. Pretty good strategy,
It's
bro.
a great strategy. And the one thing that we always let me share is that we said was swing trading wasn't really, and you know what? I'm playing a little. Let me share my screen a second. I'm a little outside my game. You know what I mean? I consider myself at this level in my career, screen share, kind of like a 5-tool player. You know what I mean? I like swing trading a lot, but if you can see on the bottom right here,
Yeah.
it's the whole everything is centered around Apple, Microsoft, Google still pinned near the low, still, still 75 cents off the low.
The old
Amazon's
game.
only 90 cents off the low. But
Yeah.
the reason why we put a big buy signal is anything that was green this morning, and evidence on the bottom right hand side
Semiconductors.
the old semis do lead, and AMD was positive all morning. With
Yeah.
that being said, is the bottom right here stocks that reported earnings, and you're having stocks like Wayfair, all the stocks that were heavily shorted to go along with that. And I will go up to back to TradeGATEHub and say that. And I had a couple of posts to let everybody know that this is that I'm not making this up. Not that there was it's never in question, but I was trying to say be careful. And then you look in the back right, this bottom right of my screen here, you had Zillow reported earnings. I mean, there's
Yep.
a laser has earnings. I had that actually. There's Run. Look at this. Etsy up 12%.
20% in run.
ALB, which is the best of breed lithium player from 250 is right here. I'll show the charts in a second. From 250 to 273. Robinhood. They're taking up Robinhood like this, a squeeze stock. CFLT, a squeeze stock. Qualcomm, which is actually one of the better stocks, if you will, arguably still somewhat overpriced, just like a bunch of
The
these
old favorites, Mike. I mean, what people have been buying for a decade, it's not working.
No, it isn't. What's working is a stock like Roblox. What's a stock is working like a PDD that squeezes. Fizzler's making a new best of breed. Fizzler all
Yeah.
time high.
Solar.
Etsy's a
Yeah.
squeeze. Carvana, which I bought very well today. But I was pounding Carvana. Bank of America is pausing. The oils are pausing, but it's just this type of anything that was short that they could take advantage of. And maybe, as you can see, a lot of the ones that are up the most today had earnings, which was an excuse for them to really take them up or here. But you know what? Let me go to my charts now. And I was saying to a couple of people, as well as the charts in the room this morning, here's the chart on Apple. Here's the
Still
chart
looks
on
ugly.
Google. Here's the chart on
Yeah.
Google.
Ugly.
Here's the chart on Amazon, still 3 days
Ugly.
after earnings.
No
Look it
one
up.
would have
Let's look.
thought the market would survive it. I mean, if it continues, I guess we'll break down under 3,600, but you know, if maybe we get bear market rallies in some of the mega caps here, but they're not going to be leaders.
No,
They'll bounce,
but
but they
even
won't be leaders.
Coach, very good. And by the way, RCL, I have to look what happened here.
What
Royal
do they do?
Caribbean going from 45 to 53. It's
This
an
is
$8.
just in the morning.
It's
This
an
is one
$8
day.
move on Royal Caribbean as of 11:10 Eastern on 7 million. You got to either be in it, it's got to be on your screen, it's got to be
That
with you,
looks
the
great.
group, or it's got to be just as big as the UUP and the TLT. Because I don't know if it's necessarily a squeeze. It's kind of those stocks that's too big to squeeze. I'm sure they're taking up a CCL just as much, but they're taking up Crocs. Just if you know what was even Para yesterday. This Para, which screen am I on? They're still punishing the stock that are acting weak. Para was down like 20% yesterday.
Yeah.
Para, what is it? Comcast or
So, I
Cablevision?
mean, you've really built the point that stock selection, stock picking has never been in, you know, in many years. You know, all you had to do was own the spider, right? And, or, you know, what people felt were leaders forever, Amazon, etc. Now you really have to have a broader universe. And I think it takes a pro to cover everything that you cover. Really takes a great amount of attention to, you know, be able to see, like I used on the title, separating the wheat from the chaff. So the ones you showed earlier, all the standard bearers for the last decade or so, aren't, you know, they're depressing the market. Can you imagine if they, you know, put in a low and gave us a nice rally where the averages would be?
And you know what? That's what's going to, by the way, a lot of good trades today, and it's getting back to, you know, really, not me personally, just amazing swings with good volume, range, and price action. So, you know, I'm taking a little bit out of my style. I have a couple of these low floaters that are still there. By the way, you know, I think they're going to move eventually. But you know what? I'm taking out of my style because normally, as we say, I would let these winners, you know, run a little bit more. But I'm breaking the code of taking off some winners to pay for losers. I'm not adding to the losers, but it's rotational for me too. But to some grace of God, I'm not in Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, or Google yet. Like Gerard asked this morning as I sign into TradeGATEHub again, is because I might as well buy the Qs. I mean, I believe Apple, Microsoft, they make up 18-20% of the NASDAQ. So it is a stock, to edify your point, it is stock picking, and it's one of my fortes. And that's what we're giving you on TradeGATEHub. I'll give you even an example. This was 2 hours ago. And you look at the stocks on the bottom right, which was, you know, we're in play, always a relative strength by green.
Yeah.
And then they're just the same, it was back to basic principles. It's just buying relative strength on the morning and not getting, you know, not worrying about the averages. It's not worrying about the averages. Etsy, like I said, if you saw my screen, sans the mega caps, you think the market literally, by the way, would be up 800 points, including with the oils. AMD, the semis are at a nice reversal. All these Chinese stocks are now. Look at LI. I was chided for a peer of mine for LI. As a matter of fact, I did a video on it during the week. Go back. I just bought it on a whim at 1304. Now the stock's at 17. I bought a lot of it too.
Nice whim.
So, you know, Fizzler. There's no surprise on a daily that Fizzler in the solar sector has been a best of breed. It's taken a little time again to wipe off it. EMPH. So run today. You know, run wiped out a month and a half of
Losses.
anything that ever happened. Boom, in one day.
What did they do? Like
Sunrun, they're I believe they're based in California, I believe.
Okay.
They're solar. You know, there's
Okay.
the solar. They're a little bit more of a conglomerate, if you will. But you know what I mean? When they're taking up hood, let me go back to my screen.
That's interesting. So, you know, solar uses a lot of silver. And what I noticed today is even though gold has recovered, it's still lower. Silver's up about 18 cents. It had a real nice recovery from being down 30, 40 cents.
Here's this.
But Newmont is just cratering.
Look at, and by the way, It's one of the only, I mean, it's even stock selective in the group. And
Yeah.
you and I had this discussion 3 months ago. Is new money even a best of breed anymore? Correct? Remember?
Yeah. Yeah. It's
So,
not.
AEM is, let me go to a couple of things here, as long as we're on the gold, and I'm sure you addressed it on the video as I go to my charts. AEM is, hanging in there. GDXJ looked like it was going to take off 2 days ago until the Fed meeting,
Right.
but Newmont Mining, nice sale on Lewis, who didn't get stubborn. I mean, it really, if you didn't sell some here, or at least the majority of position at 40, right through that whole number, then what are you doing? You know what I mean? Listen, and I'm not here to pontificate, but that's when you like you take the SAT, you get 200 points for signing a name. That's that's 101. So Newmont's making moves like that. So you know what I mean? It's stock specific. Royal Caribbean's up, and yet a couple of the other ones are down. So Roblox, listen, let me go to this chart right here if I can keep going on to something. Roblox, it's no surprise that it's holding all the moving.
You've been
moving
talking about
averages,
this for about
scrolling up.
3
That's one of the
weeks.
one. It's been a hold until it breaks down. But you know what? It could be a binary breakdown at one point. GFS was holding in there, Global Families. All of a sudden, it went from 58 to 50. But Shopify, you know what I mean? That one is Shopify's in the same group. Well, actually, it's above as Roblox. You know what I mean? Except Shopify still has the 200-day. But these algos are going to these things. They're either going to stocks that are technically okay, or stocks that they could just eviscerate. And no one, I'm surprised that these mega caps are down so much, Coach, because as we said a 1,000 times, they're the most heavily shorted out there.
Yeah. Well, there may be a day of reckoning on some kind of short squeeze there, although very hard to develop a squeeze in that type of capitalization. But go with what's working. Don't reinvent the wheel.
And if I can get down to basics again, back when I was an infant trader, or whatever you want to call it, whatever, early on in my career, this is what the way I would be in. I would still be in EOG, these stocks here, as crude still is down to EOG. Okay, best of breed. Where's Exxon again after a little pullback? There's the buy on the pullback. Devon Energy, by the way, was down $10, which was, that was,
you avoided that. You got out prior to that.
Yes, I did. But there's still SU, which is our biggest oil holding in the fund, right? We went from 32, right? Yeah. So right back, to where we are. It's still iffy yet. But even stocks like CVS reporting after earnings acting well, still basing.
Yeah, looked okay.
Caterpillar leading the
looks
Dow,
great.
Still leading the Dow charge. McDonald's
going to new highs.
McDonald's still leading the Dow charge. Where else are we on? Exxon's in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So the leaders got stronger.
Yeah, they did.
And the followers got weaker.
That's correct.
Okay, so and that's why it's so important to identify the relative strength of the sector. And then, like you said, you have to go within the sector to find the best within the sector, because it's not all generic. I'm sure there's some semis up today, some semis down today.
Yes. So some of them are the semi equipment makers like AMAT, Lam, and ON are down. AMD and Nevada are up a little bit, but I think that's because the Bitcoin's somewhat recovery. But even had something like Myrna, like it's the vaccine company that even if it's not on your screen, it was a story stock today that should, and if not should, has to be part of your process. So Myrna had earnings. Let me go back to my screen here. So even a stock like Myrna that went right back to the
moving averages,
the 50-day moving averages, Myrna has a range from 136 to basically it's got a $15 range on 6 million on $147 stock. You got to be in it. Just like RCL, it's got to be on your screen for rotation and to see if that one fades, then maybe ancillary. Listen,
it was much easier to buy the break and buy these stocks that you bought today, knowing that you were going to have an opportunity to buy them cheaper after the Fed, instead of being in them, riding them through the Fed, and then sometimes people have a hard time adding on when they're in drawdown. You ever do this, Mike? I was talking about this earlier.
Yeah, no,
Sometimes what you have to do is tell yourself, I'm flat. What would I do in the market? Forget about your book and just say, what do I think now?
well, that's what I think. That's when I'm on the couch and I'm handicapping by CNBC, and I'm always a genius by looking for the macro view. But that's not really how I handle it, coach. And what I said yesterday on the video is I handle my stocks like that. All right. If I say, all right, hold on a second, or whatever, if I'm in Roku or whatever it may be. If I wasn't short, what would I do with it now? If I was long it, I say to myself, seriously, I was thinking, if I would ever think about shorting it, ever, like 5%, then maybe I should take a little bit off. You know what I mean? So I think about that individually. I say, if I wasn't in AMD right now, when my mom's screaming at me because she could have bought it cheap. If I wasn't in AMD, and here's AMD right now, by the way, technically looking a little bit better. I'm not saying it's what,
I
okay,
don't know. Yeah,
but
I
I
don't
already
like
had
it.
the news out, coach. It already reported. You know, it's already
Okay.
had time with that volume and everything to digest. It's not making a lower low as the Nasdaq's every one that we always pointed out is.
Yeah,
Granted, I know it's one headline
maybe.
from breaking a new low, but it's, I don't
I
know.
never catch bottoms like this. You know why? Is given what's a TF, the time period on this? Is this a daily?
That is a daily going
All
back to,
right. So it's given people 1, 2, 3, 4, about 15 days to buy it around the big round number of $60 without really making much progress, which to me, maybe it bounces to 70. But
there's been no. First of all, I agree, and I'm not telling you about it.
yeah,
I'm
anyway,
just saying
that's
it has
just
good range. But all the bad news has been in this for it to base and be in this range like this.
okay. All right.
Now, granted,
It could be a base.
hold on, if this chart was flipped the other way, I'd say this doesn't look, it'd be, I understand.
You would think it would be a top, or it would be,
A buy.
you would think it would be consolidation before another move to the upside.
That's correct.
Is that what
So
you're saying?
I'm
Okay.
yes, correct. So I'm not going to be
Okay. All right. And anything happening in interest sensitive stocks, they should have gotten whacked yesterday with the Fed, like housing but coming back today as rates really did not. So, they're holding. That's that doesn't look bad from today. Everything could change tomorrow with the NFP, Mike. We get one little glimmer of hope with lower hourly wages, or maybe a miss on the headline number, and the yield chart I showed you, we could really accelerate to the downside in yields. I can't see that being anything but supportive for the market right now.
Coach, I'm selling any pop I can get on something I somewhat halfway don't believe in, whether I'm down or I just what you said before. When you had a segue to saying before, if you were ever flat, I was saying, oh God, you know what I mean? I'm just trying to be as best I can without making any egregious moves. I'm here to take every cent out of it. But I wish my style, if I had less positions, this would really be that's what I'm upset about. Not when I'm in, it's what I'm missing,
Okay. Well,
That's personal.
we always, I mean, your universe is so big, Mike. I would think you miss things every day.
I do. That's where it comes to discipline, because you can't catch
Okay.
everything. So that's
No, you
where it gets
can't.
to know what type of style trader I am.
Right.
That's all. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Anything happening, for example, copper's kind of been sideways, Freeport, what's that look like?
You would know better than me, coach.
It held where it had to.
You know what? Well put. I couldn't put it better. Held where it had to.
Yeah, under
You know
today's
what?
low.
A lot of these energy stocks are acting well. I see across my board. BTU, coal.
Yeah.
In particular, I took a note of that one. Boeing. I always took Boeing is acting well, from what I understand. Boeing's still acting well. It's I don't even know if it's in the Dow anymore. And I'm not apologizing for it, such an antiquated index, but
that's a 200-day it's about to challenge here, right?
Yeah, and it probably has that magnet going up, go up to it. You like those type of charts, coach, don't you?
Yeah, they're magnets.
No, I've been noticing that more and more, that you don't like it so much as it's kissing it, but if it's like 70% of what I'm just making up a number. You like that magnet if going up to that level. I noticed that.
If you bought it earlier, that would have been a target for me.
Right.
to take something off. But I actually think it may go up there and hesitate, but it's going to break through that 200.
No, noted. I got the pen. But you know
Okay.
what? Here's serious. No, I've been watching more. When I watch your videos in a row, it seeps in more because then I'm not all equity polluted. Uh, here are some more charts you have to be careful on. Like even a GameStop. I know it's coming around. I hear they might make an appearance again. Oh, wait, not GameStop. Car. Here's Car.
Carvana.
Avis. Last
Oh,
October,
okay.
514. It's looking
Wow.
okay. I'm telling above the moving averages, has the
Breakaway
volume. Be
gap. Yeah.
careful. I wouldn't
Yeah.
short it. You want to buy a lotto. Maybe
I'd
that
sure
pays for
buy
some
it if
food.
it pulled back to 200 or a little lower, but I don't know if it'll do that. What is that? That's a broken stock.
Please, I don't want that's my biggest problem at the moment.
Okay. We all have them. What is ZI?
Zoom info, a cloud stock.
Zoom. Okay. Zoom.
No,
Okay.
Zoom info.
Oh.
The bad I should have known right away they had Zoom in it. That's where I knew the problem should be.
What's the difference between Zoom and Zoom info?
Uh
It's not the platform that people
Nothing.
use
They
for
actually have a lot
webinars.
in common. They're both going lower. But Zoom
Okay.
info, you know what? I'll tell you what happened here. It's not choking me. It's just it was a bad trade. It's one of these cliches where a small position turned into a bigger loser than it should. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
800 started to 2000. I mean, the stock was
That was earnings, right? That
but the stock
crushed it.
3 days ago was 45. Now,
Yeah.
so I thought it would hold. Listen, it's okay.
Well, it's earnings.
My average price is 33.20. Like I said, it's
Yeah.
not choking me. It's pissing me off more than I'm more mad than anything.
All right. And anything going on in cyber security?
Cybersecurity, yeah, another stock that looks just as bad as Zoom Info, RPD. That's a Zoom.
Wow.
That's yeah,
Yeah.
that laid an egg. And
Yeah.
here's another one that
So a
laid
lot
an
of
egg.
these big gaps are all earnings driven.
They all. It's you know what? It's a lot even on the upside.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you
This
look
was.
if
How
when you
would
look
you characterize this earnings season? How much longer do we have before they all shut up?
how much longer into earnings season?
Yeah, until it's over. Earnings season is
About a
over.
week and a half. We have a
Okay.
week and a half to hit the lotto.
Okay.
But the thing is, it's not about what they do. It's about what they do after. You know, it's almost the cliche is it's not how they open, it's how they close. So they're going to have these bars of these type of moves like Etsy is up $11. So for the active trader, considering if the volume doesn't dissipate, and I doubt it will, considering the moves that you'll have some good ranges to trade in individual stocks.
Okay. So any preps or anything in mind for tomorrow's NFP after the Fed? Or it's just another number to you?
No, it is these days, you know, like I saw you look at the pooch down there. Normally it'd be an excuse to go walk the dog.
Right.
But these days it isn't. I'm gonna trade tactically. I'm reevaluating more than I ever had HCM. I'm reevaluating more than ever. That's why I wish I was flat. It's exhausting.
Young man's game. So Mike, thanks for the review. Anything you want to close it with?
Yeah, just don't listen. Be if
don't overthink. You told Lewis today.
I did say don't overthink it, and you know what? It's a market, and you told me myself. It's a FOMO market. This is a type of market where there's so much movement that you have maybe lesser positions, and still the VIX is well below 30 now. Lesser positions, maybe a little bit more size when it's working, because if you're spread out a little bit more than I am, trader mentality takes your edge out, because the more you have positions, the more you're apt to make those mistakes and your edge dissipates. For example, taking off a winner to sell a loser, maybe the loser gets worse, everything like that. So, it's condensing it. I'm usually very, very good at it. I'm not I'm not suffocating. It's just, it's more of what I'm not doing than more of what I'm doing.
All right. Well, you'll be more relaxed at S&P 4140. That's
No, I'm
my
fine.
prediction.
That's coach. Listen, I'm chill as they come. You'll never know if I'm up or
Okay.
down 6-7 figures. So 6 figures.
I
But
couldn't
I'm
do
just
it.
passionate.
I couldn't do it. So anyway, Mike, really, thank you very much for all the hard work that you do every week. I think that the content that Mike provides traders on a daily basis is a huge edge for anyone that's interested in individual stocks. I don't think they could find a better place to do their intelligence gathering for the stock market, Mike.
Well, I appreciate that. The opinions are up for debate. But one thing, like I said, I should probably stop using the word guarantee, is the last thing you'll have to worry about is where and why things are moving, and knowing where I hate to say it, the action is, the movement is, and usually a good explanation behind it, if we take a position or not. But we're all, listen, in layman's terms, or traders are all around it. It's up to you to develop your style and give opinions and participate.
Yeah, so check out TradeView, open a demo, trade some of these ideas, compare it to your broker. And Mike, great week.
Yeah.
I think that we had it diagnosed pretty good for people that they should have expected after that big run to 39.20 that we were going to come off. We didn't know by how much, but then again, we saw the opportunity this morning.
Right. You know what?
How can you do it any better?
No, you can do it any better, but if that's part of your plan, if you're a person that comes in flat and wants to take money out of the market, that's actually my forte. There's nothing, you don't have to have an opinion. The predicate shown upon what my screen is. You see what I'm following, what I'm moving, and I don't think I'm alone here. Majority of stocks that are moving. So anybody has a question about anything, like I said, it's more eyes the better. Just have a plan and just listen. Like I said, on the quantitative side, we're not going to be short of where to put you. Just know your style and get back to fundamentals. And
here's my coaching tip for the day.
Sure.
In markets like this, pay attention to your big levels and forget about the noise.
Okay. Also, you know what the best thing has happened if everybody goes through our YouTube channel? It is true. And I have been trading for over 25 years. You learn more about yourself in bear markets than you do in bull markets. So if you don't have a TradeView demo, now is the time to definitely get it, because actually, you know what? The VIX is so low, but there is a lot of movement.
It did nothing yesterday.
What's that?
It did hardly anything during the
sell-off. It's still doing nothing
yesterday.
Today.
Well, I mean, yesterday when we were down 90 handles.
It moved. I
don't know what, it doesn't, I'm starting to think that, someone's got it pegged.
Well, someone has it pegged though. Coach, it should have been at 40, at least when it was at 32.
Yeah.
It should be 30 right now. Where is it? 20, 25, 26, whatever it is. It should be 30, 32.
It hardly popped yesterday. That was pretty vicious, and it hardly did anything.
And you know what? Once again, the last point is, and that's why you're seeing very few reversals today, because the VIX is so low. Usually that implies volatility. These weak mega cap stocks are staying weak. These green stocks have stayed green. There haven't been a lot of reversals, and that's why the VIX, if the VIX was a lot higher, believe me, there wouldn't be complaint in the world. I could maneuver more, but things are staying that way, and they are staying that way. I don't.
The most bifurcated market I've seen in my career.
That is true. That is true. So
it's unprecedented. Ever hear that word?
Unprecedented? Yeah, some things right now are unprecedented.
We've heard it an unprecedented amount of times, buddy. All right, thank you, Mike.
Trade well.
Enjoy the rest of the day.
Thanks for your time.
All right, buddy. Thanks, partner.